Alright. This edition of Fat Angie is coming to you from outside. Don't mind the hat. It's a fairly short chapter. Sorry it took me a second. Also, there's like only one comment, so thank you, Curtis, for commenting on my video. Where the heck is everybody else? I don't feel appreciated, and I think that you should appreciate me for doing this, for going through this. So, anyway, now I don't know what happened last time. I actually don't know what happened last time. She had a freak out. They're burying her sister. Her and Wang are like okay, I guess. Yeah, I literally forgot. Okay, but this one is called War. And this is 5. Watching your mother make kiss face at your brother's court-appointed therapist after a hellish first day of school is both nauseating and deeply unprofessional. That's true. Angie wrote in her therapeutic journal as she sat at their new mahogany dining table. The dining room, like the rest of the house, had been redone. The shade of color... Nope, that's not true. Twice since the spring. One time after her sister's funeral. The shade of color, the style of sofas, the guest bathroom. Nothing was ever right in Connie's mind. Not that she had ever been around enough to truly absorb the wrongness. Her job kept her out of town 3 out of 4 weeks of the month. And the kids preferred it that way, mostly. Honestly, it's kind of a cool job. Except if you have kids. John/Rick, Wang's court-appointed therapist, had been the unexpected addition in the subtraction of other things in Connie's life. First, as a secret, not really secret boyfriend, and then the completely obvious one after Angie's sister's body was recovered. Soon, he became the stationary front that would not move past their lives, playing father rather than boyfriend. He mostly regurgitated textbook/talk show therapy at the kids. Isn't he a therapist? He's kind of a bad therapist. Honestly, report him to the board. He smelled like cigarette smoke in the backyard, cheap breath mints, and gym sweat. His smile and abs were likely his best traits, if that were possible. Maybe the mom went for the abs. Wang did not like John/Rick. Angie did not like John/Rick. Connie probably didn't like John/Rick either. John/Rick, I'm tired of saying that, grabbed beer number 2 from the refrigerator, popping the cap and leaving it on the counter. A rookie mistake for a guy who was working on getting a drawer in Connie's dresser after a year plus of dating. Rule number 8, in regard to the kitchen, everything you use falls within the one-touch rule. If it's trash, dispose of it. What are you writing? Connie asked Angie, setting a platter of sushi rolls on the table. I don't know. Stuff. Do it after dinner, Connie directed, and no more than 4 pieces. Have some soup, it's low fat. 4 pieces of sushi. That's rough. Of course it was, and so began round 1 of the game, not official game, of what Angie named Passive-Aggressive Dinner Digs, or PAD for short. The rules were simple. Connie said one thing, but meant another. Angie pretended she didn't know what her couldn't-understand mother meant. Angie looked to Wang, who had wisely opted out of the family festivities from the onset by jamming earbuds into his ears, quietly nodded along with the music while scrolling the internet, simultaneously stacking a mound of wasabi on a California roll. It will give you heartburn, John/Rick said to Wang. When Wang did not respond, John/Rick tapped on Wang's plate with his fork. A fork because chopsticks would be a dexterity stretch for the Midwesterner. I feel like that is a dig at people from the Midwest, but I feel like you could use chopsticks. It's not that hard. Popping one earbud out, Wang continued to scroll on his phone. What? Angie grinned. Her favorite part of any family meal was watching Wang duel with John/Rick. You shouldn't eat that much wasabi. I'm just saying, John. John advised. It will make you sick. Wang picked up his sushi roll with the giant portion of wasabi and launched it into his mouth. Within seconds, tears streamed down his cheeks as he grinned, chewed, and swallowed. Wang, said their mother. What? He said. Now you're gonna tell me how to eat? Whatever. Don't disrespect your mother, Wang, John said. Angie paused, chopsticks hovering over a Philadelphia roll. That probably has cream cheese. Maybe. You're not my dad, John, Wang said. You have no authority in this house. John's actual name was Jonathan Christopher Rodriguez, but he had told Wang and Angie that they could call him Rick. a name that perplexed them immensely, so John/Rick felt more fitting. Yeah, I don't know how you get Rick from Jonathan Christopher Rodriguez. That's not... Yeah. He's a guest in our home, Wang said. That's not true. He's a guest in our home, Wang, said Connie. Don't act ignorant. I'm not acting, Wang said under his breath. Oh, he just called himself ignorant. Guest? John/Rick said, catching Connie's faux pas. You mean, you know what I mean, said Connie. Angie served herself the allocated 4 pieces of sushi while Wang topped an even larger amount of wasabi on the next roll. He would burn his esophagus out of spite for John and Rick. Have fiery poop blaze out of his butt for an hour if necessary. Wang was fearless and, of course, not forward-thinking in his rebellion. Fiery poop was, well, still fiery. Still, Angie wished that she had a fraction of Wang's pushback, but she didn't even eat mild sauce on burritos, so the outcome did not seem very likely. This sun is, like, really nice, guys. Did you try the dress on yet? Connie asked, pouring a glass of wine. Angie grimaced. No, she said. You need to try it on, said Connie. It might not fit. Round 2 of the passive-aggressive dinner digs. It did not matter if the dress actually fit. Well, it kind of did. It was that Angie did not fit into anything, into small-waisted clothes, into social groups, into Connie's idea of a daughter, into the suburban, heteronormative paradigm. Angie simply did not fit. Here we go with that. It's a nice dress, Angie, John/Rick said. My sister picked it out. She's a bigger woman. She understands your needs. That's rough. Shut up, John. Please, please, please make this stop, Angie thought, her hand itching for the pencil wedged in the crease of her notebook. Her stomach growling for 12, not 4 pieces of sushi. Her urge to quite literally scream vibrated in her, but she stretched her lips into a smile and said, thanks, to John/Rick. Wang shoveled the fully loaded sushi piece into his mouth, tears ripping out of his eyes. Chewing, and he did not look good. You okay? Angie said to Wang. Don't look at me, he said, swallowing hard. You'll learn someday, John/Rick said. All this showing off won't give your soul any real sanctuary. What? The kids looked at him blankly. Connie rambled on about something with the sound equipment they'd order for the dedication ceremony, something about the glaze on the chicken for the meal after, something and more something while picking up pieces of tempura shrimp rolls from their precisely symmetrical brethren on the oblong plate and dipping them into soy sauce. Talking in that way that was doused in falseness, the pretend, mind-numbing conversation about the dedication ceremony appeared to have no end. Angie, like Wang, had opted out of the listening portion, partly out of what Angie's new woo-woo therapist referred to as self-care. And then Angie will speak, Connie said, continuing to roll through the litany of her list. Angie sank a little lower in her chair, staring hopelessly at her tiny plate and tiny serving of sushi. I am making a prediction that she actually does not show up to this thing, and she runs away. The very idea of standing in front of anyone and speaking was paralyzing. She literally felt the bottoms of her feet tingle numb with anxiety at just the thought. Her mother, well aware that Angie struggled with public speaking, believed that one must overcome their fear by doing, not watching. Which, like exposure therapy, right? But time and a place. Wang got a call on his cell and stood up. Hey, Connie said, we're having dinner. It's Dad, Wang said. Ooh. The temperature, should it have been measured, dropped 22 degrees. Tell him to call you after dinner, Connie said. John/Rick kept his eyes on the plate. This was not a round worth stepping into. He's my dad, and I'll talk to him whenever I want. Wang stormed out of the room. I really like Wang, honestly. Connie pulled her napkin out of her lap and rested it on the table, one hand on the wine glass, the other pressed against her forehead. John/Rick leaned toward her. Want me to go talk to him, he asked. Don't do it, John. Connie put her napkin back in her lap and changed the conversation. This was family dinner. Angie stared at the blinking cursor in her text window to Casey. Casey, who had not texted her in over a week. Casey, who had promised that their friendship would be forever. Like Joan Jett and the Blackhearts. Forever suddenly felt a lot shorter. Angie started, then deleted a sum total of 7 messages, each one sounding more pathetically needy than the next. In her estimation, anyway. She looked out her pretty in pink curtains at Jake's house across the street. His deceptively cool Datsun 280Z with original interiors, per his bragging, was parked in the driveway. Is that a cool car? Is that a car? Or like, what's that? That's probably a car, right? The glow of the nightstand lamp ignited his bedroom on the second floor. Jake Fetch and his dog Ryan were sitting on the bed. Girl, do you have binoculars? I can't see that far. The moment would have been cinematic if he had seen Angie rush to the window and shouted, "I'm sorry, I'll never talk to Stacy Sloan again." Stacy Ann Sloan, sorry. Only that did not happen. Angie cracked open her dresser drawer, loosening a duct-taped king-size Heath toffee bar from the roof of the dresser. Oh, buddy. Noticing her sister's infamous number 42 Hornets Nest basketball jersey shoved in the back of the drawer. The jersey Angie had been given when she made varsity basketball last year. The same jersey. And then it stops. "Hey," Wang said. Angie jumped, dropping the candy into her drawer. "What are you doing?" he asked. "Nothing." He strutted into the room. "You suck at lying," he said, plopping onto her bed. "I want half." "Of what?" "Of the candy you're acting all fake innocent about," he said. Angie grabbed the candy bar and sat beside him. "Mom's on a warpath," he said. "She's downstairs losing her shit on the caterer." "You didn't make things any better at dinner," Angie said. "Neither does she," he said, biting into his half of the candy bar. "I know," Angie said. "It's just, sometimes, maybe." "What? Cower? Behave? Eat a shit sandwich? Live in mom's version of reality?" Angie shrugged. "I don't know. Dude, I am counting my days in this house, this town, aren't you?" Angie had not thought so specifically about the counting of days. Mostly, she just wanted to get through them, and with the least amount of taunting as possible. "All I know," Wang said, "is I can't wait for this stupid dedication ceremony to finally be over." "Same," Angie said, biting her into her candy bar. The bottom of her feet tingled. Don't fixate, she thought. Don't panic. Don't fixate or panic. And breathe. In the nose, out the mouth. Only don't hyperventilate. When you tell yourself to not do something, you end up doing it a lot more. Don't think about breathing. But she was fixating and panicking and thinking about white wooden chairs full of people staring at her standing in an itchy dress with lace that had a small but significant tear in the upper right shoulder. Aw. She was... And then it stops. Wang continued to scroll on his phone. "I think if we tell Dad what's been going on with Mom, he might take us." Angie fell back on her bed, her legs hanging over the edge. Wang fell back beside her, both of them staring at the glow-in-the-dark stars plastered in purposeful constellations on Angie's ceiling. What did he say to you on the phone when he called at dinner?" "It was Carla, not Dad." "You made the whole thing up at dinner?" Angie asked. Yeah," he said. "I'm not telling you to eat a poop sandwich or anything, but do you just have to make everything up?" "So you're siding with Mom and John/Rick?" No, I'm not siding with anyone. Why do you have to lie all the time?" "Whatever," Wang said. "Dude, Angie, come on. Like, you can break the rules sometimes, you know?" I feel like she makes some of her life, like, really difficult. The quiet, not quiet, hung in the narrow space between them. Narrow in that Angie had a twin-sized bed that was unusually shorter than it should have been. "You know what the difference is between you and me?" Wang asked. "Ethnicity, waist size, use of pejorative statements, interest in music, that," Angie said. "I want something," Wang said. Angie half laughed. "Seriously, what do you want?" he asked. "Huh? To escape/date some girl who ditches you to be like her?" The her was always their sister. Always. Because the saying of her name is just too hard. "Fuck that," Wang said. "I'm not gonna be another copy-paste like the rest of this town. Stuck in the smallness of driving circles around the Sonic on Friday nights, sitting in this house waiting for..." "I'm not waiting for anything," Angie said. "Just because I don't hang out with wannabe criminals and get lit on the weekends." Oh, honey. They put, like, quotation marks. Maybe their truce was wavering. "Look," Wang said. "I'm sorry, okay? But, damn, I don't know." The quiet resumed for precisely 11 seconds. Then Wang's phone chimed several times before he turned it off. "You still make wishes?" Wang asked Angie. "What?" He pointed to the ceiling. "They're not real," Angie said. "Bro, come on." "So," he said, "it never mattered before. Remember when you used to wish for a 10-scoop banana split shaped like a hobbit?" That's pretty cool. Angie grinned. The visual was strange and yet appealing. "Yeah," she said. "You and her made it for me." "Dude, it was her idea," Wang said. "I was just along for the ride." They continued to look up. Fake stars. No glow. No... ... "I missed that," Wang said. "Me too." "Ask you something?" Wang said. Angie tilted her head towards him. Why do you think we're so fucked up? Wang asked. Angie looked back at her ceiling. I don't know, Angie said. For approximately 11.2 seconds, though Angie did not time it, they sat there with only the silence between them. It was the kind of silence that would normally make Angie uncomfortable, desperately wanting to fill it with anything, but she didn't. Wang got up off of the bed. Angie propped herself on her elbow. Where are you going? Angie asked. I just need to roam, Wang said. I'll catch you later. Hey, Angie said. You alright? It was not a question Angie asked Wang often because he was rarely vulnerable. It was all smart-ass jokes and poser talk. He nodded and disappeared out her door. She fell back on the bed and looked up at the ceiling. There were 1,000 plus 9 things she could wish for. It just wasn't worth the effort. I think she's actually kind of depressed. That's it. That's the end of it. And then the next chapter is called Gone Away, so I'll do that. Sorry it was a Thursday. Thursdays are kind of getting easier for me instead of Tuesdays, but I will still try to stick to Tuesdays. Yeah, there's that. Tell me if you're enjoying it so far. Do I even keep going? Are you guys even watching? I know Curtis is, so thanks. Also, let me see if I can get this. Hey, Cooper, come. Come here. Come here, boy. Hi, Coops. Come.
Let's smile. Oh, here's Cooper. Hi, buddy.
Cooper says to comment. Bye.